Over to Ruth.
Brilliant. So from 1st of January 2021, there will be new customs and EU and GB regulatory requirements on animals and goods transiting the Landbridge. And Ireland has worked closely with our key EU member states and also the Commission to ensure that this critically important route to market remains an efficient and effective route for Irish traders. EU Regulation 2019-21-24 applies the general rules which apply to Union animal goods under transit through a third country, which GB will be. And there's a technical amendment to this regulation, which is progressing and will be in place for 1st of January. And I'll discuss this amendment at a later stage in the presentation. So this regulation 21-24 provides the general rules that apply to consignments, and they're of live animals, products of animal origin, composite products, animal byproducts and derived products, and both hay and straw. And from the 1st of January, transit consignments must be moved in accordance with customs transit procedure to maintain their union status. In addition, consignments must re-enter through a border control post, a BCP, in the country of re-entry to EU territory. And this BCP doesn't have to be specifically designated for the goods in the load, but it must be designated for any one of the goods in the list above. At the BCP, then the consignment will be subject to official controls, and I'll provide more details on what these are in the next slide. The prior notification of the arrival of the consignment at the BCP is also required. So the technical amendment to the regulation, this relates to how the prior notification is provided to the BCP that the consignment is arriving. And it allows for the prior notification to be provided by the operator either through traces or another IT system. So the mechanism by which prior notification is provided is at the discretion of the EU country of reintroduction of the consignment. So therefore there are different rules between different member states. But regardless of the mechanism used, the documentary checks, which will be the official controls, they will be performed electronically prior to the consignment's arrival at the BCP. If there are no issues noted, the lorry or the consignment will be green routed out of the port without further delay or identity or physical checks. It's only in the case of the suspicion of non-compliance that the BCP may require the consignment to present for checks at the port. So I'll discuss two product journeys now. The first product journey pertains to fresh beef, moving on the 23rd of April from Dublin to Calais. And the reason I've chosen April 23rd is because the UK or GB requirements for transit will be in place at this stage. So in Ireland, the declarant completes the transit declaration on NCTS. In addition, because France's IT system is reliant on a common health entry document, what we call a SHED, for the prior notification, part 1 of a SHED on traces NT must be submitted also. The operator must be aware of the GB transit requirements, which have been outlined as prior notification on the IPAF system, a health certificate, which is to be determined, as we've heard, and also notification that the consignment has left GB territory. So these requirements, as I said, apply to product of animal origin from April 2021. They apply to live animals at high risk ABP, as we've heard in the previous presentations, from 1st of January. In the BCP at Calais then, electronic documentary checks are completed in advance of the consignment's arrival. The shed is finalised by the competent authority at Calais BCP, and the lorry or consignment is green routed out of the port without delay or further inspection, so long as no issues are noted. The second product journey then relates to the reverse journey, so France into Ireland. And again, this is a product of animal origin cheese, a dairy product, and it's moving through Dublin port. So in France, the declarant completes the transit declaration on NCTS and a master reference number is assigned. The GB transit requirements again apply in this direction also. In Great Britain then, the carrier creates a pre-boarding notification, a PBN, by submitting that master reference number into the RoRo system. In Ireland then, Revenue will share the TAD and the PBN details with the Department of Agriculture, and that will give us the necessary information to perform our documentary checks, which we'll complete electronically before the consignment's arrival. And again, if no issues are noted, that lorry will be given an export exit port routing, and it'll be allowed to leave the port without further checks. So what I've given is a simplified SPS requirements for animal goods transiting the Landbridge. In total, with customs requirements included, there are 13 steps to be completed, as you can see from this slide. Now, these will be discussed in detail at a Landbridge specific seminar, which is being held on the 15th of December, and which details will follow. And as always, we encourage you, where possible, to consider switching to direct maritime routes. The process for moving goods directly between Ireland and other EU member states will not change, and it will not be subject to new procedures. And also, goods removing directly will avoid any delays at the UK ports. In the meantime, if you need any more information on the Landbridge, please visit the link at the bottom of the page there, which provides some good information on transiting the Landbridge. So as I said, we really hope that you'll join us on the 15th for the Landbridge specific webinar, and details will be provided shortly. If you have any further queries or questions, please contact us using one of the options here, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Okay, so just in terms of the questions that have come in, can an Irish operator submit a French traces NT declaration? So this is, I assume, an Irish operator that is exporting goods to France, and maybe under their Incoterms, they may have obligations to complete some of these formalities. So I don't know, Ruth, do you want to cover the traces piece, and maybe Caroline, if you can talk about maybe some of the Incoterms, or am I putting on the spot on that?
Yeah, we'll cover it on the 15th.
I think we can cover that on the 15th in more detail.
Yes, we'll have French customs.
We'll have French customs, that's right.
French agriculture, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so join in on the details on that detailed Landbridge presentation that we're going to have on the 15th. Will pallets also have to be ISPM 15 compliant in cases where products are moved from Ireland across the Landbridge? So I'm going to direct that maybe to my colleagues, and also then to James on the DEFRA side. Can you speak to that, please?
Sorry, Louise, just I think that's primarily a matter for the UK authorities and their transit requirements.
Okay, so James, do you want to pick that up, please?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the issues that may be covered on the 15th, but I think we still have Jason Pollock on the line, and we also have colleagues that deal more specifically with the Landbridge, so Rebecca and Eva. So could somebody address that, or do we need to follow that up later?
I think
okay, so maybe just.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're following up on that later. Yeah. Okay, so again, maybe the detailed requirements on that for the 15th. The French requirement for a CHED on traces creates a 24-hour advance notification which hampers current timings for transport to get from Ireland to Calais. This is a negative impact for Irish export. Will France relax the 24-hour notification for Irish Landbridge product? So just to be very clear on that, France required the CHED to be submitted on traces. The CHED reference number needs to be put in onto the transit accompanying document. Therefore, it's technically that has to be done before that. The TAD has to be declared or completed. Caroline, jump in, Caroline, before the consignment leaves Ireland. Come on in, Caroline, and help me out.
Yeah, so, Louise, you're correct. Yeah, I mean, the TAD has to accompany the load. So therefore, you can't leave Ireland without the TAD. So you have to have the traces details for France done in order to that's the pre-step that must be completed. So it's not a 24-hour step. It's as the goods are leaving Ireland, you need your TAD. So the step before is the traces for French customs, French agriculture.
So at the moment, the Landbridge journey is, I think, 13 hours. I think everybody expects that distance, that time to change considerably after the after the 1st of January, and there has been significant developments in terms of direct routes to the continent, including new routes to Dunkirk, out of Rosslare. Irish Ferries and Stena have changed their sailing, so there's now a daily service to Cherbourg, and many others. I think there was another announcement, Cork to Zeebrugge as well during the week. So there are many direct route options available now to go to the continent. Now, another question, will Calais be available to complete transit? So this is an Office of Transit question, Caroline. Can you answer that, please?
Again, Louise, we'll be more definitive on the 15th, but the information we have from French Customs at the moment is that you cannot end your transit in any of those French ports that you have to travel on to. I think the nearest one is Boulogne-sur-Mer if you're heading south for Paris, and then but they're all on the website. But no, our information to date is you cannot end any of the transit movements at those French ports.
Okay, so thank you, Caroline. So using the Landbridge model, presume this means that product of animal origin cannot be unloaded in GB. The trailer must be untouched. Any takers for that question?
Correct. The product cannot be unloaded into a warehouse. If it is, it loses its union SPS status and will have to be recertified for onward export back into the EU. Consolidation of loads is permitted, but it is not advised, as in a Landbridge consignment can have UK product added to it as it's going through, but then that entire load will then be subject to checks at the BCP of arrival due to the presence of those UK products.
Caroline, do you want to add anything from a customs point of view? Or are you happy that's fine? Okay.
Yeah.
For fresh meat, can a load leave Ireland, pick up or drop off in the UK? So we've just answered that, and continue to the EU. Okay, so we've just answered that. Read the TAD.ched. We understand process, but is it 24-hour advance notification still required? So we've answered that as well. So look at the bottom line. The goods can still transit the Landbridge after the 1st of January, but the process for transiting the Landbridge is gotten very complicated. There are significant administrative burdens associated, as well as the requirement for a financial guarantee where the products are travelling under customs supervision. That guarantee is linked to the potential duties that would be due on that consignment if it didn't complete its journey and leave GB. For agri-food and fishery goods, hopefully we will have a tariff-free, quota-free trade agreement with the EU, between the EU and the UK, but failing that, the tariffs on agri-food goods are very significant, as people are well aware. So the direct route options are something that we would really encourage businesses to take seriously to avoid the administrative and the burden and potential delays along the Landbridge. I think at this stage there are more questions coming in. I'm conscious it's 20 to 1. We've gone over our time allotted, but this has been a very useful webinar. As I said, I'd want to sincerely thank colleagues on my team and colleagues from DEFRA for contributing to today's webinar. The recording of this webinar will be put up online, and the slides will also be made available online. And we will follow up with an FAQ that together we will jointly prepare with our colleagues from DEFRA with a view to providing clarity on questions that either we couldn't get to or that we didn't have the answers to yet, pending further clarification and developments more wider. So again, just a sincere thanks to everybody. I hope you all keep well and keep safe. And a reminder, we are less than 4 weeks away from the 1st of January 2021, and businesses really need to be prepared for the changes that are going to come from then, where they're trading to, from and through Great Britain. I wish you all well. I hope you all keep safe, and I wish you all a happy Christmas. Thank you very much.